Hi, welcome to Real Film Snobs. I'm Angela Yeager.
That makes me Brian Michael. And today we have a fantastic show for you. We have Oscar-nominated films, we have a Japanese classic, we have a Hollywood blockbuster, and an independent film as well. So before we get into things, make sure that if you're watching us on YouTube to go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and also click on the little button. It'll let you know when we upload a new episode, and it'll change Angela's water into vodka, and that just makes the show more fun as time goes. Our first show, our first episode, our first clip at the top of the show movie is for If Beale Street Could Talk. This is Barry Jenkins' follow-up to Moonlight. I wanted to say La La Land as a joke, but that still hurts a little bit. His follow-up to Moonlight, and this is just as an impressive film as his previous one. This is a remarkable looking, acted, paced film that's just absolutely amazing, and as someone used to say, quite a treat. This tells a story of a couple whose relationship is challenged once the boyfriend is accused of a crime he did not commit. You see his girlfriend finds herself pregnant and having to be rallied around by her family with support. This film, what I loved about it was that it showed we saw what's going on currently, and then we have flashbacks to their relationships. And each time we go into those flashbacks, Angela, I got so optimistic for their future, and then I came back to the present, and I thought, oh gosh. And I mean, it kept every single time. And what Barry Jenkins does is he just goes for a big close-up, which you know I enjoy.
Yes.
But it's not a close-up on the person speaking, whether they're saying something sad or happy. It's the reaction shot of the other person, which, by the way, is harder to act. So you get to see some fantastic actors. It's Kiki Lane and Stephen James. Of course, Regina King has got an Oscar nomination. And you get to just see some amazing emoting, whether there's words or not. There's a lot of language in the face. This is an absolutely incredible film. And I thought maybe, you know, with Moonlight, I was like, gosh, I hope that isn't just like a one-hit wonder. This really shows that he's got a style. This is someone who has something to say. I'm really looking forward to his next film. Yeah,
it's great. And, you know, I have to also mention the screenplay. He adapted a novel from James Baldwin, who's one of the, you know, the great thinkers of his time and, you know, very intellectual writer. And so I can imagine how difficult, I haven't read the original novel, but I can imagine knowing James Baldwin and how political and how intellectual he was, how hard it was to turn something he would write into something so beautiful and poetic on screen and still bring in all the social justice and racial justice issues and without really detracting from the central story. These are people you care about, you know, that you want the best for. Kiki Lane and Stephen Hayden. I thought his name was Hayden. Was it James?
James is what I had written down, but I could be wrong.
But he plays Fawny, and it's, you know, great characters. Regina King is fantastic as the mother, who just really wants the best for her daughter, but also loves, you know, the fact that these two young people have been together their whole lives. Their families are intertwined. They were kids together.
That's such
so
a
it's
great
beyond
backstory.
it's beyond the usual boyfriend girlfriend. You know, they were childhood friends, so their families are really intertwined, and we see that. The cinematography is fantastic. I mean, there's some shots when they are walking in the rain, and the use of the color palettes that he does, just breathtakingly gorgeous color. And the music was fantastic. The score, which was by Nicholas Britell, who also did the score from Moonlight, which is a great score, but also the soundtrack itself of the, you know, he used kind of classic soul and jazz music, but not the obvious stuff. Like, I love it when people use stuff that's romantic or great R&B, but they don't pick the song you've heard a bazillion.
That's off of his hits.
Right.
Certainly.
Yeah, he didn't pick the most obvious Al Green song. He didn't pick the most obvious Coltrane song, so I really liked that. So there was just lots of moments this could have gone wrong, and it didn't.
So what I told you after we saw this film, I said, I can't wait for this movie to be on YouTube, and I'll explain this. There's a new thing that Netflix does now where you watch a movie, as I watched superheroes battle Thanos, and you watch a great scene and it says, do you want to watch it again? I'm like, ooh, yay! You can just do an infinite loop and keep hitting that button. There are so many great scenes. I think every scene in this movie was so fantastic that I thought, oh wow, when it faded or when it edited to the next scene, I just thought, oh my gosh, I would love to see that again. So if Netflix ever does this for this movie, it's going to be every 2 to 5 minutes. You're going to say, do you want to watch that again? And I'm like, yes. Or when YouTube, sometimes people have the movies and they're cut up. I could watch any of those films just kind of, you know, because we see some things flashback, you can watch them in random order. They're just these wonderful, like you said, very poetic little vignettes that are just amazing. I just savored this film. I am certainly looking forward to his next movie, but I've got time to sit and watch this one a few more times and really let it sink in because it's absolutely beautiful. the scene where she breaks it to the family, where Regina King, who I thought is not old enough to be a mom, I remember around 227. She's my age. We're old enough to be parents, and she explains to the husband, "This is a celebration. You have the drink," and he's like, "This is good," and he's like, "Oh yes, yeah, oh no, this is good."
I love the way she led him through that.
Yes,
He's
here
just,
we go.
you can tell he's a nice
stunned.
guy, but he's just like, oh, that's my baby girl. You can also see him
Exactly.
thinking that, you know.
And then when he has the scene with the other father in the bar, and they're talking about money, oh, I love that scene.
That was great. Yeah, no, there's not a bad scene in this movie. This is easily one, in my opinion, one of the best films of the year. I'm giving it 4 stars. So.
Top 5 is getting real crowded, y'all.
Oh, I know. This is a tough year.
I think I'm just going to have to throw darts at a board.
But I would say, despite what you said about Netflix, see it on the big screen first. Just watch it all the way through, take it in, and then, you know, later on you can watch.
Tell 10 people.
Yeah.
Tell 10 people to see this movie. Okay, so we're going to change gears. Woof. Big time. We're going to watch, let's take a look at a clip of our next film, which is Glass. Okay, so that was a clip from Glass. This is M. Night Shyamalan's new movie. I almost was able to say that with a smile on my face after those last couple of films being Split and The Visit, which I really enjoyed. This is a very limp sequel to what was hoping to be a promising trilogy. I actually got Angela talked into seeing this film, with the first one being Unbreakable, which is a fantastic, amazing film. And then there was Split, which was fun, and I liked this movie.
I think you liked it more than I did. But.
And then they have this one, which is a continuing story. Certainly we have James McAvoy, who plays the Horde, who gets to play 26 different characters, or however many, and does a fine job of it. Sam Jackson, who gets to play Mr. Glass and say nothing for half of the movie, which is just what you want to do with Samuel Jackson, because, you know, sure, no one wants to hear him talk. And Bruce Willis, who is there to pick up a paycheck and just kind of wouldn't, and really not given anything to do.
No. That's exactly. It's like you took the words out of my mouth, Mr. Michael.
This is such a bad. I kept leaning and hoping this would get better. And all this movie does is talk when we want to see action. It does. But when they talk, it's just explanations. They're just explaining what's going on. In a comic book, exposition. It's in a comic book.
In a comic book, this would be the next thing that happens.
I was like, stop pointing. You know, you never saw the action hero, but all it was is this kid when in a movie with an Arnold Schwarzenegger. I kept pointing out, this is a movie. It's only a movie. It's a movie, and it was like, shut up. No one wants to hear that when you're in a theater, and so that was just. And then there was twists. Of course, they had to do it, which were ridiculous. So some secret society that meet in a bar where everyone's in the secret society, including the bartender, and everyone stops and knows when to stop and to start talking. Sarah Paulson is wasted. I don't understand her character. Someone's dying. She's like, "Did you think my therapy was successful?" And I'm like, he does not care. Someone's dying, and that's what you're going to ask them. Everything with this movie was just so wrong. It almost became laughably bad, but I was just sitting there going, why would you do this? It
was pretty bad. Yeah, you know, the James McAvoy character, who we just saw in Splits, was the most recent character, is sort of interesting because, of course, he has 26 characters. And I think the filmmaker finds him the most interesting because they spend the most time on his character, but he's the one we've just seen. But I was really wanting more of a sequel to Unbreakable, essentially.
Yes.
And
yes, big time. That's why we're all there.
Yeah, that's why I was there. And that's not what this is. This is mainly like a little bit of Unbreakable, mostly Split. And then, you're right. Samuel Jackson is given nothing to do, and his character is quiet because he's like comatose the first half. So I thought, well, that's an interesting. Bring one of the most vivacious, interesting actors, like you said, that you want to hear talk, and give him nothing to do. And Bruce Willis, I don't even know if he was awake. I think, like you said, he was just doing a Harrison Ford here and waiting for the paycheck to roll in. I guess.
felt like he did. It just was like,
Yeah.
Just doing nothing. And by the way, you can't start a revolution on YouTube because when someone watches those clips, they just go, "Oh, that's fake. That's special effects." Click, next thing. Where's
I know,
the
and they're like, "It's been 2 hours. What's going to happen?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's so
all
tone
you had
deaf.
to do was just have action in the beginning, action
it's
at
really
the end,
tone deaf.
and then having some conversations between Glass and the
I mean, I
Bruce
thought
Willis's
James
character
McAvoy did a really good job, and he did the same good job. You know, he was not phoning it in. You can see he's really working hard. He's doing all those
then
characters.
You have the mother, the girl, and the son. Oh boy, he hasn't done any acting in a while.
Yeah, no, all 3 of the side characters were just kind of boring.
No needed.
They were just unneeded. So So how many stars are you giving it? 1, 2. One star.
Guess.
And this is yet another one where critics have not liked it, and the audience score has been really high, and everyone's like, "Oh."
Let's just move on to the next movie because I want to talk about the next movie.
Okay,
let's go.
So we have another clip for our next movie, which is Shoplifters. Take a look. Okay, you just saw a clip for Shoplifters, and this is the newest film by Japanese auteur Kore-eda. He has made many films that we have loved here on Real Film Snobs. One of his last films, Our Little Sister, made my top 10 of the year list, so I was really excited going into this one. It's about a family of small-time thieves whose lives are changed when they take in a young girl. And like a lot of Kore-eda's films, this one is very humanistic and centered on the role of the family. This one, though, is a little bit more like some of his earlier films in terms of it's got a little bit of a dark edge to it. And I'm not going to give anything away, but he's really exploring these issues of what makes a family, what brings us together as human beings, what connects us. In these people's case, I say a lot of that is food, which is awesome. He also did that in Our Little Sister, by the way. There's lots and lots of scenes of people eating, obtaining food, both in some cases by shoplifting, some cases not, enjoying meals together, preparing food. There's even a love scene that involves some cold noodles. So I loved that aspect of it. The actors in this film are uniformly, supremely fantastic. Some of the best performances I've seen on screen all year. I especially want to point out Sakura Ando, who played the maternal character in the film, the mother of the family, and Lily Frankie, who played the paternal figure, the father character in the film. They're both fantastic, especially her. I wanted to just go off and watch a whole movie about what happened to her in her life and what.
If you watch this movie and don't fall in love with her, you got to check your pulse, because I just immediately fell in love with her in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So this film, there's two halves, as most things do. The first half is we get to meet this family, and it's so joyful and it's so wonderful, and it ends with a beach scene that just ends perfectly, and it's just wonderful. There's this family that it's been kind of cobbled together. We kind of get an idea that we're not related, or what. There's something up there, but there's something we don't know, doesn't quite fit, but they're happy, and that's all that matters. And then the second half of it, the thread just gets pulled out. Just a little threads start to pull out, and we get to see how this family was formed. And some of it is very joyful, and some of it is beautiful, and some of it is just heartbreaking. And this movie just floored me for 2 or 3 days. It took me a while to really recover from this film. I just thought it was absolutely wonderful. There's so many wonderful scenes, including the father and the son when they're in the ocean, and the son is starting to mature.
I love that scene. I turned to you. Did you see me turn to you?
He just asked him a couple of questions.
I know.
Confirms the kid,
so emotional.
You're perfectly fine. Oh, that's totally natural. They laugh and they move on. If it was a Hollywood film, it would have been the scene. It would have been awkward. It would have been stupid or whatever. And that's nice about this movie is, and the same thing with Beale Street is, now there might be some people who, obviously these people who are shoplifting, so there's some moral issues there, whatever, but no one's stupid in this movie or in Beale Street. I mean, in terms of, you don't have the dumb, wacky next door neighbor. You don't have any tropes like that where someone just has to be dumb and someone, there's nothing like that. These are all, realistic people dealing with some situations. And, when they take the young girl into their care and they're like, it is kind of kidnapping, right? No, but they just feel that it's the right thing to do because the situation she was at was not good.
They were trying to protect her.
They were protecting her.
Yeah, it's really sad in a way.
That second half, the way we start to see how.
I know. I kept turning to you, and our eyes were like, I'm trying not to look at you because I don't want you to see how emotional I'm getting.
Just these many explosions in your heart. It just was fantastic.
I don't know how you could not come away from caring about this whole family. The little girl, I was like, I'll take her at the end. I was just like, whoever, I mean, it really got to me. And I could see why this won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. For you who are not film people out there, I mean, that was a tough year. This was a tough year to win the Palme d'Or because you had like major filmmakers competing. And so for this to win is a big deal. And now you can really see why. It's like the film I think the message about connecting and what we need to survive in humanity. We need that connection with other people.
Everyone's last scene in this movie could have been the climax of their own separate film. They really couldn't, just to have 4, 5, 6 of them. That is absolutely amazing. And when the mother explains things to the son, oof, I mean, that just floors the house.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing film. This is, again, my top 5 is getting really crowded.
It's hard. And yeah, it's funny when you said the first half or the second half. I can almost compare it to other Kore-eda films. Like the first half is like Our Little Sister, and the second half is more like Nobody Knows. Do you remember that one with the kids alone in the park?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, not exactly, but that one's a little tougher. So it's, yeah. Anyway, he's a great filmmaker. If you haven't seen his films, I suggest you seek them out. But this one is another 4-star film.
Oh, gosh.
So you have 2 films, people in Salem, Oregon, that are showing in theaters right now. If Beale Street could talk, and Shoplifters, that are fantastic.
Find them. Just go out and get it done.
Yes. And we have another movie for you to check out. So here's a clip for Support the Girls. Okay, you saw a clip for Support the Girls, and this is a film about the day in the life of a general manager of a sports bar with women with curves, who finds herself tested in every way, shape, and form. She has, difficult employees who are having lots of drama. She's got a boss who is just going crazy. She's got customers. She's got a guy who tried to break into the place. I mean, it's just sort of like, if you're a working person, this film might cause you a little anxiety because it's like that day you've had where you just can't catch a break and everything goes wrong.
If you're a manager, you deal with this
all the time.
I saw this one. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So Regina Hall is fantastic. She plays the manager, whose name is Lisa, and she really holds this movie together, as she should. Her character is the glue that holds the team together at the place and at her sports bar, and she is the actress that holds this movie together as well. She's this center, this anchor. You feel like, okay, why is this woman? We can tell she's intelligent. She's why is she in this place that doesn't seem like it's just some road stop place? But you could feel like this is a place where she's needed. Her girls, as she calls them, need her, and she starts to be tested throughout the day. Haley Lou Richardson plays kind of the more friendly, optimistic one, shall we say. And I couldn't figure out where I'd seen her from at first because her character was so different. She was in that movie Columbus with John Cho, playing a totally different character. So that really, really threw me. But Regina Hall's performance in this movie has been getting a lot of buzz. She won the Best Actress award winner at the New York Film Critics Awards. And so it's one of the reasons I wanted to see this. The other thing that's interesting about this film is it's directed by Andrew Bujalski, who I believe he was previously known for mostly doing very like mumblecore type movies. And this movie is nothing like that, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I saw it on some people's lists as best of the year, and considering what a strong year it's been, I don't think it will raise that quite high for me, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is an extremely likable film, and it, again, there might be some silly people in the film, but it doesn't go that way. You could have easily had this become just a slapstick comedy that would have made $100 million, something like that, for the summer.
They'll probably remake it.
They'll remake it dumber.
Yeah.
And that actually might be the pitch.
Sandra Bullock will play the new manager, and all these feisty girls.
And I really enjoy, we just get to see her in the morning, just kind of going through the motions and having, here's the new thing with somebody tried to break in, and this is what's going on. Okay, we got to get this fixed. She's got to fight with the owner. She's got competition. There's corporations coming in. Regina Hall, who, was most famous for the Scary Movie franchise because she's hilarious with broad comedy. But then she was in Girls Trip, which was a Girls Trip. Is that what it was called? She was really wasted in that one. Here we get to see her actually play a grown-up as an adult. And she does a great job of it. And she's still very funny. And the characters around her are very lively. And some of them might be somewhat tropey, but it's done very well. And I really enjoyed that. And it did feel like the little community here. You felt the life they had. When somebody got in trouble, she does a car wash for the money to save them. Behind her boss's back, then he shows up and she's like, I'm caught. Oh no, this is for something else. And you can see her just kind of, just hustling a little bit here, just trying to keep everybody happy is what you do as a manager, just getting to the end of the day, which might be 12 hours from now.
Right.
And I really enjoy that. You really get to see, her day. You get to feel her pain.
Yeah, we don't get to see a lot of workplace movies in America, or if they are, it's always doctors, lawyers, et cetera. So it's nice to just see regular kind of working class people. It's not an exotic setting. They're not in New York City, they're just, I think they're in Texas in this movie or something. So it's just a, everyday kind of setting. So I enjoyed it. It's very, it's definitely worth checking out. So, yes.
So then we're going to move on to me. Here we go. So we're going to go on to his distinguished classics. That's what our lists are on our website at realfilmsnobs.com. And this week we're doing an actor's revenge. I have to read the description of the film because it's a kabuki actor seeking revenge by destroying 3 men who caused the death of his parents. The reason I have to read that is because we saw it couple months ago.
It was a couple months.
Boy, I don't remember it real good. I had to think real hard and actually watch some clips.
It's funny that I remembered
oh,
it better.
Yeah.
I guess it stuck with me more.
I think it's because you enjoyed it better. I liked this movie.
I really
thought
liked
it was, yeah, and I know you really liked it. I've seen this style done before where it's very staged, and it's like on a stage, it's just pretty much black backgrounds where there's action happening there. I just had a hard time with the main performance of the actor who I did not find very convincing. And so that constantly took me out of I didn't see him as Kabuki at all. It was definitely a man, and it just pulled me out of this illusion.
Well, he's supposed to be a man, but he's a kabuki. He's a female impersonator, but he's just, I thought his movements when he was on stage were very interesting and you didn't find it interesting at all. You know, and the theatrical look is, this is 1963. If you feel like you've seen it before, maybe you saw it because of this movie. I mean, there were some gorgeous shots that we remarked on as we were watching where the actor comes out of the darkness and there's just this spotlight on him.
I like the style of it very much so. I could recommend it for that. I like the movie, but I just had a hard time with it because I just didn't believe in or just follow the main protagonist.
And so the director is Ken Ichikawa, and who went on to do, he made 92 films,
yes,
so no
did,
slacker.
92.
You wrote down the same thing. Yeah, 47 Ronin is one I wrote down,
yeah.
and Burmese Harp, which is a very famous film of his that I think won a lot of awards in the day, and Tokyo Olympiad, which is another really famous one. Those are some of the ones that are probably on Criterion also. This one's on Criterion, which is why I want to watch it, but I've seen it on a lot of lists. It's also known as like The Revenge of an Actress. It has a lot of different titles, and Actor's Revenge is the other way it goes by. I found it really gorgeous, and I liked the story, and I was curious to see how he was going to enact the revenge against all these people, and it turns out they're all kind of tied together, and he goes through, and then he starts to have these doubts because he falls for this girl, right? And she's kind of involved with one of the people he's against. You don't remember any of that,
No,
do you?
it not really so much, but it didn't really just pull me in. I mean, I've seen like Lady Snowblood. I've watched a lot of these revenge movies. That's kind of my corner. I don't mind those at all. I love those. But this one I just wasn't as passionate or, behind him as much as I would have liked to have been. Yeah, the character just didn't pull it in for me.
Okay.
No.
Well, this one of the rare weeks then all the new movies you liked better than the distinguished classic. Usually it's the opposite.
Well, no, I give it 3 stars. I certainly
Well, except for Glass.
like that one.
You would rather see this than Glass again, right?
Oh, I would rather eat Glass.
Oh, be careful what you
Watch
wish
that
for. I don't know.
again.
That's pretty bad.
I just, I was hoping that M. Night Shyamalan he was so excited about his script. Where he tweeted about his script, and I was like, really? This is the script you were so excited about because the ending was so amazing?
I'm almost feeling bad for him, and I don't know why. I shouldn't, because I know he's made a ton of money off his old movies and stuff, but there's a point you think someone who has made, a handful of really great films, and they can't seem to get back on track, and you almost feel bad for him because it almost feels like he's trying too hard.
He needs to get together with Rick Rubin, because what Rick Rubin would do, the record producer, is he would sit down with artists and say, listen, let's listen to your first 5 albums. They're really good. There's nothing wrong with sounding like that. It's okay. Don't try something new.
But he did that for a long time. He was just doing the movies with a twist, and everyone's like, oh, now it's The Wind with a twist. Now it's The Village with the twist. Now it's this with a twist.
I would rather watch The Happening again before Glass, only because The Happening is hilarious.
It's The Wind chasing us.
Oh my gosh, that's fun.
But he did do that. Your advice is what he did, though, and this movie he's actually trying to do something different, but that didn't work either.
He was rehashing characters.
Okay.
No, when he tried something different, he did try it Last Airbender, which I still will never ever see. Okay, so we both can highly recommend If Beale Street Could Talk, and quite honestly, just run out and see that as soon as you possibly can. In fact, run past Glass, because neither one of us can recommend that. It's a very transparent movie. Shoplifters. Absolutely amazing, and quite honestly, folks, if we talked about it a little bit more, I would probably break down and cry in tears.
Actually, he started to on a break earlier. So.
I love that movie so much.
So will that be your number one of the year?
It could be.
We're going to be taping our 2018 soon, folks. So we always wait.
We can recommend Support the Girls, which I actually can find streaming.
How many stars are you giving that one? 3?
I give it a 3.
3 stars.
Yeah. And then An Actor's Revenge, which I'm
recommending.
Gone, y'all, but you got to find it somehow. But it's out there. Oh, no, I can recommend it as well.
Oh,
certainly,
you can? Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So as always, you can watch us on YouTube. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can listen to us on KMUZ. You can watch us also out in Silverton and as Corvallis, as well as Salem here as well. And we certainly want to thank our amazing sponsors and our hardworking crew. I want to thank my amazing co-host. And we want to thank you for watching. As always, have a great day and great movies.